Welcome to SEC Football Live, actually live here on the 440 Sports Network, brought to you by Tennessee Brew Works downtown in Nashville. It's a wonderful place to get a beer and listen to great music and eat a great meal and hang out before you do whatever it is you're going to do on a Friday night or Saturday night in Nashville, Tennessee. Please go check them out. Tennessee Brew Works right there on Ewing Avenue, right next to Third Man Records. That is Trey Wallace of OutKick. I'm Braden Gall. Trey, how are you?
Hey, buddy, I'm good. Just a cluster of a week.
Yeah, actually live today. All right. So I know our time is we're going to have a little bit of a shorter show today. I want to talk college fantasy football as that you can sign up now on Yahoo. I'm not suggesting you go do that, but you can. And so I went and looked at all the projections for all of you. And I looked at a lot of the quarterback position for the SEC, as you might imagine, dominant when it comes to the national rankings. It's a Power 4 league. So I'll get your thoughts on some of the names that are listed in the rankings, the defenses, the projected stats. We'll have a little fun at the end. I also want to ask you about how the media ranked everybody, the actual media poll in the SEC Media Days, kind of official media rankings. I'll ask you about that. But obviously, I know you're hot and heavy right now on the amendments or the new language or the requests from the SEC and the Big Ten as it pertains to congressional action around the Save College Sports Act. Not the Save Act. That's a different one, Trey. But the Save College Sports Act.
This is totally different.
Completely different.
Completely different. No, it's look, they've sent their revisions into the SEC and the Big Ten, meaning Senate leaders, and they expect a decision by between 9 and 10 o'clock Wednesday morning.
That's a quick turnaround.
Look, here's the thing. The SEC and the Big Ten have known about this. They've known about the summary. They've known about the revision since Monday afternoon. So this is not catching them off guard today. This is just the full language of the bill. Biggest things, takeaways, real quick, is no private equity firms are going to be able to come in and be able to create a new league, new conference. The conferences can have 19-member institutions. So the Big Ten can add 1, SEC can add 3, so forth.
Why 19? I want to know why 19. I find that interesting.
They tried for 21.
Because they think 38's the right number of total teams in a breakaway?
They got it down. They narrowed it at 19. We'll see if both agree.
Let me read a bunch of new language in the deal here. Retention funding. Schools can receive a $20 million retention exception.
Yes.
Plus up to $5 million for women's institutional NIL over 9 years.
Correct.
The Super League provision, which is revenue threshold, has been lowered to $700 million, bringing all Power 4 conferences under coverage. To your point, private equity new conference loophole. New entities cannot acquire school assets or media rights to create a new conference. Conference expansion, as you mentioned, covered conferences may expand by adding non-covered schools up to 19 total members. Pre-enrollment inducements, that's high school recruiting inducements.
Yes.
Prospects cannot be compensated before enrollment with limited exceptions. Media pooling participation is entirely voluntary, and schools' conferences cannot be forced to join. And scheduling requirements, rivalry scheduling obligations do not apply to institutions outside of the covered entity. What the hell does all that mean, Trey?
It means you can only add a certain amount of schools. It means you cannot pay the high school athlete during his senior year a whole bunch of money and give him private jets and promise him private jet hours.
How do you police that?
I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't know. Like, are you going to give the NCAA the power here, the college, whatever? I don't know. I have a thought, but good luck policing it. Best way for me to put it. And then the last one, in my personal opinion, is they wanted to make sure that it was voluntary, the media pooling rights, that it was voluntary, and that, hey, we're not going to get suckered into something or get left out or lose money down the road, meaning the SEC and the Big Ten, if all the other conferences join together. So, I mean, I get it. I get the concessions. I think straight and honest answer here for you to wrap this part up is I think the SEC and the Big Ten pretty much got 3/4 of what they wanted. Yeah. And there was a lot of revisions made, a lot of concessions made. Now let's see if they're going to put their support behind this or they're going to try to go govern themselves. That's what it comes down to. Point blank, period.
I think, broadly speaking, these additions and the act itself are a positive effort to try to stabilize the sport broadly. If I'm trying to analyze the whole thing, I imagine that there are legal challenges already ready to go for this if and when it passes, which we have said on this show multiple times.
I would say to that there are lawyers preparing lawsuits for when and if this were to be signed into law. And the reason, and Greg Sankey said this to me last week, is that essentially they have to get everything in order because they know when Congress comes back in September, if this thing were to get passed and pushed through or whatever signed, that's going to be tough because it has to go through the House. Okay. But if it were to get through, Congress is not going to have time next year to come back and revise this thing. So they better have it done now compared to trying to come back. So that's where we're at. And then Sankey said last week, we're not at the finish line. Mind you, they've known about this was coming for a while now. This is not catching them off guard.
Right. So hopefully they'll be ready to go before a less than 24-hour turnaround on reviewing the language of the bill. We'll see what happens.
I would love to know the updated billable hours for these lawyers for these conferences right now.
The only winners in all of this are billable hours. That is for sure. Make sure as I mentioned, make sure you check out Tennessee Brew Works, but also make sure you check out Yazoo Brewing Company up there on the river in Madison. Great place to go have a beer. The original OG craft beer in Nashville. It's only 15 minutes from downtown. They've got a river, the Cumberland. I don't know if you've heard of it, Trey.
I have.
Big old river. Nice. You can sit on a bench, drink a cold beer, eat a burger and fries with your dog and your kids, and watch the river float by slowly. And if you've ever been anywhere close to the Cumberland River as a child that I am of Middle Tennessee, you just want to look at it. You don't really want to get in there. It's fun to look at.
I look forward to getting over there starting in 3 weeks. I will be.
You keep hinting at that.
Well, it's not hinting anymore. I'm coming.
You keep hinting at it.
Coming over. The lease is signed, bro.
I love that.
I can't get out of this now.
I love it.
Okay.
I love it. Yazoo Brewing Company, check it out. We'll see Trey Wallace there soon. Okay, so quickly, the SEC Media Days final polling, which was released, of course, late last week. I think it was over the week, maybe Friday, I think it was.
Yeah, it was Friday.
Georgia number 1. It was kind of after we recorded. Georgia number 1, Texas number 2. I don't think you and I have any real issue with that. I would pick Georgia over Texas, but I think those are the best two teams. We've talked about it. No issues, no complaints there.
No, I flip-flopped it. That was it in mine.
You had Texas 1? I mean, that's fine. Yeah. I have no concerns there. Ole Miss at 3, I think, is conventional wisdom. The problem with conventional wisdom is that when you rank teams based on how they did last year, a lot of times you're going to get burnt. And so Ole Miss at 3, I would have them at 6 or 7. Texas A&M 4, LSU 5, Alabama 6, and Oklahoma 7. Now, I've seen Oklahoma as high as 3 by many preseason prognosticators that I respect.
I know.
I would have Ole Miss at 7. Alabama, LSU, A&M, we've talked a lot about this group of teams. These 5 teams are going to be the sort of the heart and the meat of the playoff contenders here. There could be others. Tennessee's at 8. Florida is at 9. Missouri is at 10. South Carolina 11.
They
Auburn,
are not
12.
respecting South Carolina at all.
No.
And it
or Vanderbilt. Or Vanderbilt 13.
I agree with that. Yeah. But it amazes me a little bit with South Carolina. Like, if you look at their roster,
look at their schedule.
I'm giving to this or that. If you look at their roster, it is good enough, in my opinion, to win 9 games. But you look at that schedule, that's where the kicker comes in. It's like, all right, do they hold up in this? So, while I don't disagree, they got one, in my opinion, one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC. Top 6, 7, and they're way down there.
So the rest of it is Vanderbilt, Auburn 12, which I would also argue is disrespectful. Vanderbilt
got to go earn it, like whatever.
I mean, no, I agree. I don't have a problem with that. But if you Vanderbilt at 13, you then go Kentucky at 14, Mississippi State 15, and Arkansas at 16. Let's go back to Ole Miss. You got Ole Miss, A&M. LSU, Alabama, and Texas A&M, LSU, Alabama, and Oklahoma. What do you make of that group? I know I'm A&M. I know you're higher on Ole Miss than I am. So what do you make of that group?
I would keep Oh man, I'd put Ole Miss behind Texas A&M, which I did, and then but I kept them within that little ranking tier, and I would have Oklahoma ahead of LSU.
Look at that. I can just put that right up there, and you can look at it. You can just talk while I'm not even on the screen. Look at that.
Right? Yeah. I would have Oklahoma ahead of LSU. Personal opinion. I trust them more.
Okay. So I would have A&M at 3. And if you're watching on YouTube, of course, I hope you are streaming us live. You can actually see the list here.
Yeah.
I would have A&M at 3. I'm really torn. I would go LSU and Alabama and Oklahoma would be my next 3, and then I'd have Ole Miss at the bottom. I think they're losing way too much. But again, I don't. This is what makes this league so interesting to me, Trey, is that you've got 2 at the top you can make a legitimate case for. I don't know if there's 3 playoff teams, if there are 6 playoff teams in this conference, how many spots are going to be available for the SEC, how many of these teams can actually get to 10-2 versus 9-3. Does 9-3 eliminate you? But you have at least 5 more teams that are vying for playoff spots. I think Tennessee, Florida, Missouri, South Carolina, and I think that's probably what I would do is draw the line at those 4 and say Tennessee, Florida, Missouri, South Carolina, which is 8 through 11. Not the order I would put them in. But I do think those 4, somebody's going to surprise and jump into that other group. And then Auburn and Vanderbilt are both very capable winning record bowl game teams. And then Kentucky, Mississippi State, and Arkansas are kind of the 3, although I would have Mississippi State ahead of Kentucky. And I think Mississippi State could surprise some people on offense this year. But I just think 1 through 13, you've got a really balanced and deep conference, more than I've ever seen before.
If you had to look at it right now, what would be the argument for – who would be the argument for a 9-3 team to make the playoff?
Well, I mean, you never know.
First of all, broad, but
first of all, you never know what's happening in other conferences. So if Texas Tech has they're 11-1 and then they lose in the championship game and the other team is 9, if you have a Duke Virginia situation, that's very possible that they can only get 1. It's possible that the ACC only gets 1. There's certainly not going to be a second group of 5 team getting in. And honestly, I look at the Big Ten, and while it's very, very good, I think it's 3. I think it's Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon, and I might pick Oregon to win the whole thing.
You don't think USC sneaks in?
I don't think USC is good enough. I don't think Michigan's good enough yet. I think they both could be good eventually. So you look around the league, and there is absolutely a spot for 5 SEC teams to get in.
I'm very, very like I kind of brought up. I'm very curious to see the argument with a 9-3 SEC team. But I look at the schedule this year, and there's no wonder that they're pushing out strength of it so much for the metrics with the CFP. Like that's obvious. I think somebody sneaks in at 9-3. I don't quite know who that is yet, but I could see them getting one in.
I'm also trying to pull up the ranking, the polling here for the BCS in 2007. Is what I want to check here, because the BCS standings. So the final BCS standings was January 8th. I think this is after the championship, so that doesn't count. Week 14. Okay, so December 2nd, you had Florida was 9-3, and they were 9th place that year. And the reason I brought up 2007 is because it was like total chaos, right? It was absolute
fun
chaos.
Year though.
It was one of the best ever. So you had Tennessee at 9-4. At number 16. So you had a 3-loss team at 15, Clemson, a 3-loss team at 14, Boston College, a conference champion, I think, that year. Or maybe they lost to Virginia Tech in the ACC title game. That would have been Matt Ryan, I think. Illinois 9-3, 13th in the polling. So my point is you can see Florida was 9-3 at number 9, and then you had a bunch of 2-loss teams. LSU was a 2-loss champion. I still think wild. Georgia might have been the best team that entire year. But if you look at the point is you could get to 3 losses in the top 9.
I know.
If you're a 9th place team, you better be in the playoff.
I know that, but I'm just telling you that argument is going to start about strength of schedule and whatnot, and the conference is going to eat each other alive. And I am very, very curious to see who that team would be. I don't know if name would carry a lot of weight. Like, well,
Yeah.
Ole Miss is sitting at 9-3. It's a large argument.
I think it depends on how you get to the 9-3. Right.
I agree completely. Understanding that the schedule is gauntlets for all of them. And look, we think we know how good these teams are going to be. Let's find out. But what I am saying is that they're going to be relying a lot on the strength of schedule part. So
I do think that 3-loss Florida team in 07 might be one of the highest rated 3-loss teams ever. Here's Ole Miss at number 9. Ironically, Georgia Tech at 3 losses and Kansas State at 3 losses, as well as Arizona at 3 losses, all in the top 12. So Ole Miss, Georgia Tech, Kansas State, and Arizona, all. And I think this was also one of those crazy years in 2014, which was the first year of the playoff, right?
Right.
And of the 14 playoff, and all 4 of those teams are in the top 12. So, like, there's a very, I mean, like, at some point when schedules get harder for everybody, not just the SEC, that you're going to start to see 3-loss teams just be in. You're going to run out of spots because you're not going to put, like, I don't know, like a 10-2 Houston over a 9-3 LSU. Like, that's you're not going to do that.
Nope. Even with like one bum rush loss, like it wouldn't happen.
Yeah, I agree. Like at home to Kentucky, maybe.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. God bless the Kentucky Wildcats.
Here's the thing,
like screwed it up against it.
I know this sounds like a broken record here, but
no, it's fine.
I hope the committee and I hope fans and I hope media, because I do think I remember I was on Sirius XM for like 10 years, and I would fight this battle. I would fight this battle forever with people trying to say to folks, like, use your brains. When you watch these teams, use your brains. I don't need to know any one metric, but take all of the metrics together: strength of schedule, FP plus, S&P plus, yards per play, total domination, margin of victory, strength of schedule, like whatever, number of ranked teams, top 40 opponents, winning record opponents. I don't care. Take it all together, put it together, and use your brains and be like, we do this so easily with group of 5 or group of 6 teams where we see undefeated records in group of 6 conferences. And we go, well, that's just not as good as an 11-1 or 10-2 record in the Big Ten or the SEC. And I never understood why that isn't also possible for fans to do. If you look at Texas Tech's schedule last year or this year and compare it to a 9-3 schedule in the Big Ten or the SEC, that could be really difficult, and suggesting, like, there you go.
I knew. I told you it was coming. I told you.
What about Texas? Texas last year, they had to play at number 1 defending national champion Ohio State. Did anyone else have to do that?
No.
So I
come back around this year.
I just don't know why it's so hard for people to say, "Oh yeah, that the loss column isn't equal." It doesn't. 10-2 does not make you better than 9-3. 12-0 does not make you better than 11-0. It could make you better, but it doesn't automatically make you better. I don't understand.
I think it's also the teams, and I think it's also the argument itself. Like I'm being honest with you. Like we could have the conversation about Texas till we're blue in the face. And I'm not saying they belonged in. I'm just saying, like, James Franklin's argument about Penn State, I think, is valid. They had to play Pittsburgh in 2016 and lost. Right.
Like a last second, I think it was like an overtime game or something. And they lost twice because they had to play Pittsburgh, and Washington played 3 slapdicks in the non-conference and didn't. And I'm not even saying that Penn State was better, but like, you have to look at those records, and you can't just say, well, 12-1's better than 11-2. Like, you can't automatically say that. You have to actually do the work, watch the team, study the numbers, look at the talent, look at the skill, the domination, the metrics. You got to look at all of it and be like, I think Penn State was a better football team than Washington was, and they deserve to be in, even if they lost one more game because they played a harder schedule.
I need the eye test. That's what I need the committee to look at a tad bit more. And so, hey, it is what it is. They have their guidelines for it, but I don't disagree with you. I think I think this is going to be a perfect example this year. What if there's two lost 9-3 teams in the SEC? Like,
do they play each other?
Right. That is the question. I know, trust me. We had that discussion. So I'm just saying, like, it is opening up an avenue now where the conversation gets deeper. And if you're wondering why the SEC has been pushing so much on the strength of schedule part, this is the reason why. 9-game conference. No expansion. Yeah. Here you go.
Yeah. No question about it.
And some of these non-con games aren't the best in the world. Vanderbilt, North Carolina State. No, whatever. I could go on, but I'm just saying, like you see where I'm getting, and that's why I get pissed off in the future that some of these games are getting canceled. You know what I mean? Like whatever. I could go on for hours about
that. Any other questions you have about the actual rankings there? Anything that stands out to you from the actual list there? Anything at all?
If you had to say one team right now gets in over the other, I'll just throw it out there because we're all talking about the game and it is what it is, and we'll be there to the game until something happens.
Okay.
LSU more viable to actually be in that 3 spot if everything holds up on that chart right there. And not holds up. I'm sorry. If we're just going off that chart, is LSU more viable for the 3 spot in the conference compared to Ole Miss?
I think that's a pretty good question. Probably depends on the outcome of that game.
Well, I know.
And I think Ole Miss is extremely motivated in that game. I think LSU is extremely motivated in that game.
But they darn sure better remember that there's
who would I put, like, if I was hey, you got to put $100 of your own money on this team to finish third, I'd probably go LSU. I'd probably go LSU.
Okay.
You?
I trust the quarterback situation more at Ole Miss.
Yeah, I mean, I don't deny that. I don't trust anything.
No, else. I know. Right. No, I know. I'm just saying,
All right.
Let's see how Kewan Lacey holds up too.
Yeah. All right. East Nashville Beer Works, another great local brewery in Middle Tennessee that you need to remember, know what it is, and go visit it. East Nashville Beer Works in East Nashville. Great place to go get some pizza. They got their own THC drinks along with the great beer and the great projection screen out there. But you know what I did? I went out and had lunch with my mother for her birthday. Happy birthday, Mom.
Really? Okay.
And you know where we go? Every time we go out there, because they live right off 109 out there in the east side of town, the real East Nashville Beer Works. And we went to their big Wilco, Wilson County location, which is right there between Lebanon and Mount Juliet. It is a cathedral to beer and community and family. They got a dog park, a putting green, a climbing gym. They got a giant projection screen. They got an adults-only loft lounge upstairs. They got all different types of food. They got great options. They got the kids love the soda fountain machine there.
Yes.
They got a huge walk-in cooler. They got a food truck thing set up right next door, and they got a big thing coming up on Saturday on August 1st for their 10th anniversary. So go check out East Nashville Beer Works. Okay, I'm going to put up the
missing out this weekend. Okay,
this is small, so I don't know if you can see it or if you can read it, but I'm throwing the projected quarterback fantasy stats up on the screen here. And Arch Manning is the number 1 quarterback in the rankings, okay, as expected. And he's projected to have 30 to 40 points more than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you look at the rankings here and you do just projected statistics, which is not how this is ordered. This is ordered in Yahoo rankings. There are 5 of the top 8 quarterbacks listed in terms of projected fantasy stats. You have Arch Manning projected for 363 points. You've got Trinidad Chambliss at number 4, projected at 334 points. You got Marcel Reed projected at number 6, 325 points, who's not even on this list, I don't think.
Disrespect.
He's not even listed on this graphic I have up here, because this is, again, the graphic on the screen is the Yahoo rankings. But right. Marcel Reed is projected to be at 325. Byron Brown at Auburn is number 7, projected at 321. Kamario Taylor is number 8, projected at 321. Then you go Avery Johnson, Damon Williams, Will Hammond. John Mateer at 313 points is number 12. Sam Levitt, Keelan Russell, Lenora Sellers, and Gunnar Stockton, all listed in the top 20 of projected fantasy points scored for quarterbacks. Look, if the SEC is going to return to dominance, and I'm all about fantasy football, I love it. I think it's great. We're going to have a league on this show, so I'll invite some folks and have some DMs ready to go for everybody. But if you are looking at drafting quarterbacks, draft like the John Mateer, Sam Levitt, Gunnar Stockton, Lenora Sellers range, because you can get those guys really late and still get a potential top 15 or top 20 quarterback in fantasy football. What do you make of the rankings here? If you look at the SEC numbers and you look at who's ranked where, if you look at the quarterbacks, what do you make of? I mean, I think Arch and Chambliss 1 and 2, I think is fair. I think there's a lot of. I actually really love the Kamario Taylor pick out of.
I don't disagree with you. I would have Marcel Reed above Keelan Russell and Byron Brown.
I mean, that's how they project it, but it's not what their rankings are.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying overall, like if we're talking about projections and whatnot, I also think that I love how they have Faison Brandon in there too.
Hey, one thing Josh Heupel does very well is he finds a quarterback, and that quarterback produces points. So fantasy points,
which will happen when Faison Brandon is the starting quarterback by week 2.
You think McIntyre is the starting quarterback week 1?
No, I think they're going to. I told you this. They're going to pull the Ainge and Brent Schaefer thing. Both of them are going to play.
2 cute quarterback systems.
Both of them are going to play. Yeah. I like Kamario Taylor. John Mateer, I'd buy stock in. I'm buying stock in John Mateer this year.
I think John Mateer is ranked 125th player overall. Yeah, he is ranked as the 5th best quarterback in the SEC. And as you look at this ranking, like he's barely like a top 10 quarterback in fantasy points. That seems insane to me.
I don't know. I don't know that that's possible with him being fully recovered. Like whatever. I get it.
He's number 10. If you told me I can draft running backs and receivers in fantasy, and then I can get John Mateer as the 10th quarterback off the board, I would say let's go.
Taking a heartbeat. Do you feel like Marcel Reed's getting a little bit of disrespect, or do you think it fits right in?
So what's weird again? He is 145th overall, which means if you look at this list, he is just after Byron Brown. So he didn't make it onto this screen. I couldn't get a big enough screenshot. But if you look at the projections from this is all from Yahoo. If you look at the total projections, I mean, he is projected to be like the 6th best quarterback in fantasy football, which I think is right. He is a better fantasy quarterback than he is an actual quarterback.
There you go.
Over 3,000 yards passing, 25 touchdowns, over 400 yards rushing, 5 more touchdowns if he cuts down on his interceptions. I mean, A&M is going to be leading in a lot of games, and he does a lot of things. So I think Reed's I think I would wait and take like Stockton or Sellers or something like that.
I was about to say to you that I think
that's what I would do.
The most consistent quarterback out of this group that we might see is Gunnar Stockton.
Oh, 100%.
Just consistent. Okay.
And he's projected a little bit lower, 288 fantasy points, but he's like the 159th overall. He's like the 20th best quarterback. That's a great QB2. If you wait on a QB1 and you want to take Stockton as your backup, you're going to get, like 226 yards and 3 touchdowns in like every game.
Yeah. I've got a case to be made for Stockton where I know I'm like you said, I know I'm going to get 280 in the air probably and 3 touchdowns overall.
There's one quarterback. It'll be Kamario Taylor and John Mateer are Byron Brown is another one I'm really interested in. The guy I will never own on any of my fantasy teams this year is Sam Levitt. And it's not because he won't produce big numbers in Kiffin's offense. He might, but I'm not taking the risk on that. No, I'm just not.
No, sorry, man. Like I got to figure 6 games into the year and he's playing good. I still have to decide if it's even worth it.
Like according to this ranking, he's the number 5 quarterback in fantasy football, which means, again, this is all power 4 players, which means you got to take him like real early in this whole thing.
I would wait and take another quarterback before I took him.
I tend to agree with you.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Because that's how I look at this. That's how I look at this draft board.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
I don't trust you, Sam Levitt. You got your money, but let's go see you do something.
I also don't trust him. It's not about the offense, but if you're telling me I could take Lenora Sellers 5 rounds later,
right,
or 6 rounds later, I'm taking a guy who's been a starter in this league who's generally pretty healthy. And Lenora Sellers is the entire offense.
Yes.
Although Nick Harbor's pretty high on the rankings too. So
but who's he going to be passing to?
Right, so look at this. Look at all this garbage. Look at all this garbage here.
It's a lot of garbage.
This is a lot of garbage. So here is what I've got on the screen right now. If you are watching, of course, is on YouTube or Twitter. Is I went through and I pulled out every receiver and running back with their projected stats and their total fantasy points and their overall rankings on the left there. So K1 Lacey's the number 3 player in fantasy. He's a top 3 pick in fantasy. I think that's fine. I think that's totally good. Jaden Baugh's at number 6. Deshaun Bishop's at number 10. Ahmad Hardy, even with the injury, is still top 20 at number 17. Then there's a big drop off at running back. So if you want a running back in the SEC, they're telling you get those top 4. They don't have any projected stats for Fluff Bothwell. It's very strange. Nate Frazier, Jamal Roberts, another backup there. You got a couple of Texas guys and Raleek Brown and Hollywood Smothers.
Don't overlook Alexander from Vanderbilt.
Cedric Alexander had 15 touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
So this is a guy who gets to the end zone. And if you note, one of the things I wanted to point out, if you notice, there's a lot more receivers projected to be over that 130, 140 range than there are running backs. And so I think the receivers are a little bit more dependable. Number one receiver in the league, Cam Coleman. Do you like that?
Yeah, but be careful. Be careful. Because you know, how much love is going to be spread out to Wingo as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Wingo's down here at number 76 overall.
Right. If we're talking about points, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you got to be careful with that one. And how
I would take Wingo later in the draft than Cam Coleman at the top. Like, if you can get Jeremiah Smith out of Ohio State, who's the number one player in the draft, then that's the kind of guy you want. Satenga out of Oklahoma is the number 2 receiver. Ryan Coleman Williams is the number 3 receiver. Mario Craver is the number 4 receiver. All top 50 players, according to Yahoo. But if you keep going and working on this, you can get down to, the 156th player overall is Eric Singleton, the Georgia Tech / Auburn transfer to Florida, and he's a projected 126-point player. That's more than most running backs are going to score in fantasy football. So I think receiver is the strategy. Wait on quarterback, draft receivers early, unless you can get an elite player like a K1 Lacey or a Jaden Baugh.
Nick Arbor, dangerous.
Nick Arbor, number 77. Yeah,
yes.
I like that.
Dangerous this year.
And actually, if you look at the projected point total, he is projected to go over 50 receptions, over 800 yards, and 7 touchdowns. That makes him like the number 3 highest scoring receiver in the SEC. Even though he's ranked much lower, his projections are better than most of the other guys. Only 1,000-yard receiver in this league, as projected by Yahoo, Oklahoma's Isaiah Satenga.
I'd be a little bit nervous about taking Braylon Staley.
Tennessee, okay.
Yeah.
Tell me why.
Because I don't know who their quarterback. Well, I think I know who their quarterback's going to be, but let's see how the offensive line holds up and the quarterback has time. Mike Matthews is like another one too. It's like we know what kind of talent that these players have. If I got to make a decision before the season starts, you know what I mean? Like that. Yeah. That's the problem here.
I got a name that's a super deep sleeper at wide receiver that I will have on almost every one of my teams.
Okay.
Chaz Nimrod.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
He's not even in this list.
No.
He's not even on this list.
No, he's not.
He will be Byron Brown's top target. No?
Yes.
Or over Keyshawn Singleton and
I would say I think they're going to put so much pressure on Singleton that opens up a lot for Chaz.
I will draft that guy all day. Everywhere.
Yes.
And find some Mississippi State. Anthony Evans is their top receiver he's going to go very high in drafts. He's kind of a starting top 3 receiver, but keep an eye on Marquise Johnson. Keep an eye on Mississippi State. That they are going to score a ton of points, I think, this year.
By the way, I do love me some Caden Lee.
Okay.
Missouri. I'm just saying. Yeah,
you can get the number 1 receiver from Missouri pretty late, actually.
Right. And let's see what the quarterback situation looks like with Austin Simmons. But I do like some Caden Lee.
Austin Simmons is another one who's like not even.
I know, right?
Not even ranked in the quarterback rankings.
I saw this and I was like, "Dang, okay, all right, like cool."
Here, what's your general takeaway from the running back group? There's only 2 guys projected to go over 1,000 yards: K1 Lacey and Deshaun Bishop. We know in the NFL, running backs are far more 2 and 3 back sets. We know Alabama has been running a multiple set of guys out there. We know LSU could have 2 or 3 guys this year. Texas could have multiple guys. Missouri's going to have multiple guys. The feature back is not a thing, but you got to get production out of your running backs. So I don't know
I question how much the offensive line is playing in this as well. But
I think that's fair.
I agree with you on the durability, especially out in space for most of these guys. Man, I really hope Ahmad Hardy gets back too, by the way. Not just for that. Deshaun Bishop is going to be a guy that Tennessee relies on a lot with the quarterback situation, watching it unfold over the first couple of weeks. Agreed?
Especially considering their schedule early on.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. Yes.
No, I think if you can get Lacey, Baugh, or Bishop in the first round, I think you got to do that. Especially if you're drafting SEC players.
100%. Yes.
I really like the Fluff Bothwell and Nate Frazier. I think Mississippi State and Georgia respectively. I think those 2 guys are like the last 2 like feature backs.
I also think Dylan Faulkner is going to open up so much at Florida from the offensive side of the ball and the play calling for Jaden Baugh. Like I think he can have a productive season and get you a lot of points in the
Buster.
I'm sorry, Buster Faulkner. Why did I say?
Is that a writer? Is that like a
yes,
Dylan
that's
William Faulkner?
No, Dylan Faulkner is a writer who covers the NFL, whatever. All right,
Cormac McCarthy, is that who we're talking about?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Tight end Cormac McCarthy joining us now.
I have no freaking clue why I said that.
What's really interesting, and I'm not going to put this up on the screen, but the rankings on team defenses are interesting. It's Georgia 1, Oklahoma 2, Ole Miss 3, A&M 4, Texas 5. But if you look at the projected numbers, Alabama is actually the number 2 defense, and you can get them really, really late. So keep an eye on Alabama as a defense to draft. Also, here's an interesting one. I know their schedule's tough, but Tennessee could have an interesting defense. They could score some points in some matchups. So just keep an eye on Tennessee. From a tight end perspective, here's the clear stretch. So Trey Green is the number 1 tight end in fantasy football, the whole country. Out of LSU, he's going to be number 1. What's fascinating, though, is if you look at like the next 12 tight ends from the SEC, all of them are projected to score between like 62 and 78 points. So if you can get Trey Green, you're going to have to draft Trey Green like really early, like the 3rd or 4th round. And maybe that gives you the advantage. But the bottom line is at tight end, if you're drafting and you're playing in an SEC league, you can pick literally anybody at the end of your draft and probably get someone who's going to go for like 35 catches, 350 yards, 4 touchdowns, get you to 75 points and call it a day.
I think Caleb Edwards is a little disrespected here, but that's just my personal opinion.
He is down the list.
He's down.
He is projected at 72 points, which makes him like the 8th best tight end in the SEC. I like Lawson Lucky out of Georgia. I'd take him. You can get him pretty late in the process. We know Georgia wants to use tight ends. We know Gunnar Stockton knows him well.
I would trust that one over Ethan Davis, like at Tennessee.
I would take Lucky. I would take Lucky to do well in the red zone. I imagine.
Yes.
And you got Willie Rodriguez at number 2, Ethan Davis 3, Lawson Lucky 4, Brett Norfleet at number 5, Cole Spence at number 6 from Vanderbilt. So there you go.
Keep an eye on Brady Hunt. Not saying you got to pick him, but if he's around late.
Okay. South Carolina tight end.
Yeah,
okay.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Norris is going to use him this year.
Okay. So a lot of really look. I think
I'm fascinated by this.
It's really interesting. So I played fantasy football like 07, 08, 09. Yeah. I started playing back in the day, and I worked at a company, Athlon Sports, that bought a fantasy college company called U Sports at the time. We bought it because our whole office was playing. Like we played as much. We had 2 quarterbacks and 3 receivers and 3 running backs and a tight end and multiple team defenses. And like we had the user interface and everything. And it was so much fun because what's fun about college fantasy is you have a much larger player pool, right? You have so much more waiver wire movement because all of a sudden you're like, oh, this guy's catching every pass. We've never heard of this guy. And all of a sudden you're picking him up off the waiver wire. And the scoring is insane. Well, you have guys do like 14 catches for 244 yards and 33 touchdowns. You're like full Kelly Washington. And you're like, this is not a thing that happens in the NFL. So no. I think it's more fun in college. So
I like how it's narrowed down to P4 teams as well. I'm not going to lie. Like Power 4 conferences. I like it.
So back in the day, we played full on group of 5, all 11, all 130 teams, whatever.
Lord.
You're drafting like Dan Lefevre from Central Michigan because he'd score 43 fantasy points a weekend.
That's ridiculous.
Or you'd have
like the App State tight end. Sorry.
Yeah, Pat White and Steve Slayton were always like first round picks for sure. And then James Casey, tight end out of Rice, was like the number 2 pick one year in the draft. Oh yeah. Do you want me to pull up? You want to pull up James Casey's stats for you?
No.
Have you ever heard of this guy?
Yes, but
he played in the NFL for like I don't know, like a few years maybe.
Oh, I know. But
let me see if I could pull up his numbers. I think I've done this before on the show, but I want to show you. All right. So James Casey played for Rice. Okay. James Casey in 2008 in 13 games had 111 catches.
Okay.
1,329 yards.
Jesus. Okay.
13 touchdowns receiving. Okay. So that's over 100 yards a game, 111 catches, 13 touchdowns. He ran the ball 57 times for 241 yards and 6 more touchdowns. So he had 18 touchdowns and 1,600 yards from scrimmage. Wait for it. There's more. He threw 2 touchdowns.
No, come on.
Yes, he
And
did.
you had this person on your
He
fantasy
threw.
team?
I don't think I had him, but he was like the number 2 pick in the draft. He had 20 touchdowns, 1,600 yards from scrimmage as a
dude's
tight
out
end.
here getting quarterback rating somehow.
That's right. That's right. He was as good as any quarterback in the league. He was the number 1 non-quarterback in college football in 2008.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun, dude. College fantasy is a lot of fun. Here's the deal. I'm going to open up this league.
Yeah.
And if you're listening right now, you got Yazoo, Tennessee Brew Works, East Nashville Beer Works. If you listen to my old show on Athlon Sports, the Cover 2 podcast, if you listen to that, if you can tell me who the hosts were, there were 3 different hosts. If you can tell me who the 3 different hosts are, you can shoot me a text, you can shoot me an email, you can shoot me a comment, you can drop a 5-star review, reach out via Twitter. I don't care how you get to me. If you can tell me who the 3 hosts were on the Cover 2 podcast, I will get you into the SEC Football Live Fantasy Draft.
Do it. I'm down.
Featuring me and maybe Trey. We'll see.
Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe Trey. All right. Thanks for hanging out, man. Thanks for hanging out. College camps open up very, very soon. So we're going to have a lot of camp reports and camp news coming up very, very soon. We'll have some preview stuff as well for you. So stay tuned. We do appreciate you. You can get to Trey all over the internet at OutKick and all over the place. So go check out Trey's work there. Follow him on the Twitter machine, Yazoo, Tennessee Brew Works, and East Nashville Beer Works as well. For Trey, I am Braden. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out. 5 stars only. If you do not give us 5 stars, you are a hater. Talk to you later
next week.